Hello viewers, it's Captain Sensible here. So, Mr. Smelly's asked me to introduce the video for you, and I'm just going to give you a quick little first impressions on his new fragrance, Bon Vivre. Yeah, that's a fragrance about having a good time and enjoying the finer things in life, which is right up my street. Now, I like this one. Very fresh and zesty and invigorating. Very nice scent. Now, unfortunately, I'd like to tell you what my wife thinks, but she's not really speaking to me at the moment. She was talking to me the other day, and she said, darling, last week I gave a load of food to a food bank because did you know there's over 1 million people in this country who are so hard up that they can't even afford to eat sometimes. They're missing meals. And I said, good, that's awful, dear, good for you. And she said, and this week, I'm going to give them some of my old clothes as well. And I said, well, I don't think there's any point doing that. She said, why is that? I said, well, anyone who can fit in your clothes obviously hasn't missed many dinners lately.
It's conga, it's conga, it's conga night for sure. A chain across the floor. Oh, hi guys. Today we're going to have a look at some of my favourite, all-time greatest, cheapy fragrances. Let's flip the camera angle and get into it. Right guys, here we go. So a fun topic today. This topic of the greatest top 10, or I think it's probably 12 or something, the top 10 or 12 cheapy fragrances of all time, the GOAT. So inexpensive fragrances, don't you just love them? They're so much fun, and I'm going to talk about a whole load of them, and I've really kind of gone for some of the ones that I think are maybe not my favourite 10 smells necessarily, but the ones that have had that kind of legendary status in the online fragcom over the years. There's so many fun ones that we've all kind of talked about and got hyped up, maybe by Jeremy Fragrance or whoever. I've picked out my sort of a mixture of my favourites and the one that I've had, the ones that were stuck in all our minds, and we'll pick up or start off with one. I think you've got to thank Jeremy Fragrance for this one. Years ago, he started raving about Mont Blanc Individuel. It smells like, what was it, fresh linen and raspberries or something, and he kept repeating this description of it. Don't forget to use my code. There's a link in the description to go to Executive Shaving, which is based in the UK. They ship fragrances to the UK and the EU, and my code 5MrSmelly will get you 5% off there, all the fragrance stuff on the site. There's some fantastic inexpensive fragrances there, including one or two that I'm going to mention in this list. And you might want to try Nevis by them if you want a really amazing green Irish tweed clone for an incredible price. Nevis is superb. So Mont Blanc Individual, I think it was a 2003 release, came out before Creed's original Santal, which came out a number of years later and smelled very similar. And many people will also compare this to the horrendous release from 1988-89 that was Jupe from Wolfgang Jupe, which is this kind of pink, raspberry, sweet, weird, gloopy, annoying smelling juice. And this does have an element of Jupe about it, this kind of sweet, fruity air, but it also has this like nice, I think Jeremy's right, kind of a fresh linen accorder, quite a long note listing, but raspberry's one of the notes. There's a sort of underlying white, clean musk, a few citrus accords, very complex note listing, but I think Jeremy's right that you can just sort of summarise it as fresh linen with a little bit of fruity raspberry, and it's a really good all-rounder. Only problem is some people do think that you're wearing Jupe, which most people think is a bit naff. I think this is much better than that, but that association may not be a great thing, but it was a real hype train for us when I first started doing the reviews. It was one of the big ones we all talked about. I think it's harder to get now. It might be discontinued, but you still seem to be able to find it for good prices. This is the 75ml, I think, and it was when I got it was like £23. So look out for that one. Definitely a legend of the online fragcom, Mont Blanc Individuel. Moving on then. Well, it's got to be in the list, hasn't it? It's the all-time legendary, kind of one of the original Creed clones. It's Creed's Aventus cloned by ARMAF. Club de Nuit Intense Man. We've all heard so much about it. Many people malign this fragrance as having a very harsh opening, not really being a very high-quality copy of Creed's Aventus. Certainly doesn't capture the subtlety of the bergamot, pineapple, jasmine and stuff that you get in the beginning of that fragrance, the green apple. This one just has a sort of a little bit harsh lemony smell at the start, and then this smoky patchouli undertone thing. I kind of think this has got this character all of its own. If you want to smell exactly like Creed's Aventus, there are other clones that get much closer. Some of the more expensive renditions, like the Parfums vintage stuff, which is very good. And even some of the other cheap ones are probably better than this, but it's got this kind of character of its own. The iconic bottle used to be about £25. I think it's more like about £35 now. And it's got this harshness, but it smells macho, it smells manly. It does have a similarity, you know, a lot of similarity to the legendary Creed Aventus, and gets you compliments. And people keep reporting that because it's a strong performer. So a real iconic cheapie. Club de Nuit, Intense Man from ARMAF. Their recent other releases, Milestone is their take on Millesime Imperial. That's really close, actually. Probably better fragrance than this. Not quite as legendary. And there was a Silver Mountain Water clone, which is also actually really good. I wasn't sent any of those free, by the way. Some people accused me of that, but they never sent me any of their stuff free. Don't forget, if you'd like to join the Smelly Army private members club over on Patreon, there's a link in the description to do that. It costs just $2 a month, and you get an extra video from me every week. Plus, you get to watch everything I've already uploaded in there. We're building a really nice community, lots of interaction, and I'd love to see you in there. Next up then, this has, you guys are going to have to agree with me on this one, aren't you? It's Nautica Voyage from Nautica. So as you can see, I've used a lot of it. Sometimes it's a bit of a, you know, fresh air spray in the bedroom type of thing. Nautica Voyage, early 2000s release, the ultimate kind of aquatic soapy fragrance for me. It's sporty, it's fresh, it's zesty. It's got a bit of green apple in there, a bit of spiciness, maybe even there's some ginger, ozonic aquatic notes. Really, really good all round, soapy, fresh fragrance. Very, very likable, affable, unisex kind of scent, kind of the same smell you expect from the juice. Crazy prices of sort of in the teens of pounds or dollars rather than even 20 or above, and you know, just still going strong. Don't worry about anal people talking about reformulations and different caps, meaning just buy it and spray it. It smells great. Nautica Voyage, do you agree, guys? That had to go on the list, didn't it? Okay, let's do the next one. All right, this kind of had to be, we're going to go right for one of the epic classic all-time great fragrances that is known as a bit naff, cheesy and cheap, and it's BRUT Aftershave, originally by FABERGE and now seems to be made under license by other people. You can get different versions of this one. This is the very cheap one that you get in the UK in Superdrug and stuff for about £5.99. It smells really great. It's a green aromatic fougere, kind of powdery, talcum powder kind of vibe. Some musks, maybe a bit of lavender, again very soapy accords, green and piney a little bit too, so very much a 70s, 80s type of smell. I think it first came out way back in 1965, but it was big stuff in the 70s. We had ads here in the UK with Henry Cooper, the boxer, and Kevin Keegan, and Barry Sheen, the racing driver, apparently. Yeah, I've seen some ads with him doing that one, and his girlfriend or wife said actually he would not be smelled dead wearing this one in reality, which I think he is dead now. So anyway, moving swiftly on. Yeah, if you want to pay a bit more, the special reserve version, about £18 or something, well worth it. It's a bit more complex, and you get the iconic bottle as it used to be in the 70s with the medallion. Well worth having. It's a nice smell, guys. Just might have some negative connotations of being a dad smell from the 70s, but maybe, you know, we've gone so far past that no one remembers it. Maybe young chicks would love it. I doubt it, but you know, it could be worth a go. Okay, next up we're going to go for another one Jeremy actually has talked about quite a bit, and more of an up-to-date release. Bentley Ferment Intense, was it 2015 or no, 2013 I think. This is astounding for the price. It's boozy. It's got a kind of a rum note. It's got tons of patchouli. It's kind of a whiskey boozy opening with leather and patchouli and sweetness, making it not quite a total hairy chested fragrance, but it's a real alpha male, you know, Bentley or Rolls Royce driving, Rolex wearing guy's kind of fragrance, a chief CEO, whatever you want to call it. It's boozy, it's rich, it smells like niche perfumery. It gets compared to other things that are much more expensive. You can pick it up for sort of £30, £35. It is a stunner, and you get a great bottle design. The prestigious car manufacturer Bentley, you may not be able to afford to own a Bentley car, but this is a fragrance you can afford, and it is an absolutely stunning niche juice, really rich, really manly, and of course, if you're into fragrance videos, you've probably heard of it. Bentley Ferment Intense. Okay, my next choice, Mugler Cologne. Soapy, brilliant, the best bar of soap ever. Thierry Mugler apparently was inspired by a bar of smoke soap that he smelled as a kid in Morocco on holiday, and it is a superb, soapy, fresh vetiver, kind of the clean, green, grassy side of vetiver rather than the earthy, rootsy side, mixed with just fresh, soapy, beautiful soapy and slightly citrusy Neroli type accords. Many people compare it to Creed's original vetiver. It's a fraction of the price, and it's arguably just as good, but the Creed one has maybe a little bit more going on. It's now changed so you can buy it in a series of, I think it's called Come Together, in a sort of series of Mugler Cologne themed scents, and I'm not sure it's so cheap, and I don't know how easy. Anyway, you can still probably find this online for cheap prices, either in its new or old versions, and it's excellent just as kind of soapy fragrance for work or summertime. Spray it all over. I've sprayed it sometimes on clothes just as they're hanging up, nearly drying on a what do you call it? Clothes hanger. Yeah. That kind of stuff. It's amazing for the price. Right, next up, the legendary Bogart Pour Homme. I'm probably overusing the word legendary in this video. So Bogart Pour Homme, a long-standing favourite of mine. And this is fascinating stuff. Many people have described it as a mixture of Le Mal from Jean-Paul Gaultier with Pure Havane from Thierry Mugler, because it's got tobacco, ton of lavender, a kind of barbershop feel mixed with lavender, tons of tonka, and a sweetness that we wouldn't expect in a typical barbershop fragrance, maybe. Definitely similarities to La Mal with this sort of macho tobacco thing, but sweetness. It was a sort of 2004 release, and it's the perfumer for that one is, oh, what's his name? Maurice Roussel, a really great perfumer who does stuff for Frederic Malle and all kinds of interesting people. He did Musk Ravageur, but this one you can pick up well under £20 or dollars, probably, or $25. It's a stunner. Bogart Pour Homme. I love, love, love this fragrance. I've got 2 or 3 backup bottles. I haven't used it for ages, actually. This video reminded me about it. Next up, sorry, you youngsters, I'm doing my fuddy-duddy sense. This is so good. Just got this a few months ago. I've whacked through a whopping amount, and that's all been sprayed on me, not room spray. It's too good for room spray. Boucheron Pour Homme, classic release from 1991. It's a citrusy stroke fougere type scent, I say. So it's got a really, really beautiful citrusy opening, fantastic bottle design. You can get the Eau de Parfum or the Eau de Toilette. I think it's more like the 30-something pounds, so it's not mega, mega cheap, but it's really, really worth it. It's gentlemanly, it's complex, it's got lavender, it's got citrus, it's got tons of kind of herbal notes and maybe rosemary and basil and things in there, some floral tones, real classic French perfumery, looking maybe back to the 90s, to the 80s, more than forward into the 90s. But it's really one of the best in that genre of masculine classic fragrances from the 70s, 80s, but it's sort of not quite as stuffy and old-fashioned as some of them, I think, and really, really, really good, gentlemanly scent. Boucheron Pour Homme, must try, guys. Something a bit more up-to-date then. Ferrari Bright Neroli. Many people compared this to Neroli Portofino. It was Chad from the Gentleman's Journey channel who first made this really popular in the Fragcom. It's not that similar to Neroli Portofino, no, but it is a Neroli and fresh orange blossom, juicy citrus type fragrance. Really, really juicy, fresh citrus, some floral tones, very unisex, lovely bottle design. You can get it for the sort of £21 mark. It is beautiful. It is absolutely excellent. So along with things like Mugler Cologne for the soapy kind of vibe, Nautica Voyage could be the best of those 3 actually. Ferrari's Bright Neroli, yeah, legendary juice. Oh God, I used the word legendary again. Sorry guys. Next up, we're going for PINAUD Clubman, another of the old school classics along with BRUT. So in barbershops in the USA, apparently you often get this sprayed on your neck after a short back and sides. And it's very, very good. You can get this for really low prices. Executive Shaving have it in the UK using my code 5MrSmelly for 5% off there. And you can easily obviously get it online anywhere, well, certainly in the USA and the UK. Super barbershop fragrance, powdery, bit similar to BRUT, probably slightly better for me than BRUT. Powdery, soapy, a little bit green and floral, and you're like that dandyish man there as you step out of the barbershop. And I hope you dress like him too when you wear PINAUD Clubman. Plastic bottle. I love that kind of stuff. Okay, 2 more to go. LALIQUE Pour Homme, the lion head version. There's a horse head one, God knows why, with a different name. No, not a different name. Different bottle with a horse's head. And it smells different, confusingly. But the LALIQUE Pour Homme lion head version, I've only tried the Eau de Parfum, so I'm recommending that. I think the Eau de Toilette is similar smell. It's superb. Many people have likened it to Creed's Bois de Portugal. I think it's that man Maurice Roussel again, and it's really high quality juice. I got a compliment once in a shop on this one. It's kind of green and bergamot-y in the opening, lovely lavender, a kind of dusty accord in there, which reminds me of Creed's Bar de Portugal. A bit more sort of sweetness in the bottom, a little twist of vanilla. This is excellent for the money. Really, again, a gentlemanly one, but yeah, it's got so much going on. Really unique characters to this one. And if you've ever tried Bar de Portugal and you really like it, but you can't afford it, or you don't want to wear it every day, LALIQUE pour homme, same vibe, not quite exactly the same smell. And again, from the glassmakers LALIQUE, wonderful bottle design. Last one then in my list, I've mentioned it so many times, Agua de Colonia Concentrada, back from the early 20th century. This one was released, and a Spanish eau de cologne, maybe in the vein of 4711. I suppose I should have included that in the list, but it's a bit boring talking about that. Fantastic lemons and oranges, like a lemon grove or an orange grove in Spain, not that I've ever been to one, mixed with a bit of lavender and a faint sort of spiciness. It's just really, really good. Good performance for me. 150ml bottle. I've whacked through loads of it. Legendary classic of all time. So guys, in the comments down below, let me know your favourite all-time, greatest of all-time cheapy fragrances. What did you think of my selections? I'm sure I definitely, there were several things that I really almost included, Rassasi Darege, but didn't quite make it. So comment down below. Thanks ever so much for joining me. I will see you in the next video. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. Bye-bye.